Bloodstock with a very, very simple thing. First off, welcome to Bloodstock. Have you been here all weekend?
Yeah, absolutely, from Thursday. Yeah.
Have you been enjoying yourself?
Oh, totally, always do.
Yeah?
It's amazing, yeah. I mean,
how many Bloodstocks have you been to?
First one was 2011. I've kind of been intermittently, I'd probably say 7 or 8, I'd say.
You've done your time, basically.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Love it here, you know.
And how are you feeling?
Very warm.
Yeah.
And very sweaty at this point. We've just played about maybe an hour ago, so just starting to chill out again, you know.
The adrenaline's beginning to wear off.
Exactly, yeah, you know. So yeah, it's good, you know. Feeling great.
How was it? That's the obvious question, isn't it?
Honestly, amazing. The crowd response was amazing. Just it felt like what we were waiting for 10 years to finally get here and play. It just felt amazing.
It's incredible that it's taken that long, really, considering your name and reputation on the scene is one of respect and beloved. When Bloodstock contacted you and said, "Hey, we want to do this," talk me through that. How did it go? What did it feel like?
Well, I think I leapt through the ceiling when I read the email. It's just we stopped doing Metal to the Masses probably in about 2017 when we got signed. I thought, well, you're not supposed to be signed when you do it, so. We've been applying every year, and then you don't really kind of hear anything back, and then all of a sudden just got this email out of the blue, and it was just ecstatic, thinking, oh my god, we're finally going to get this opportunity, you know. And I don't begrudge them because there's so many great bands around here, you know. There's so many bands that deserve the slot.
Of course.
So, you know.
But you feel like you belong.
Oh, totally, absolutely. Yeah. You know, I've been a metalhead for 20 years. Love this kind of vibe. It's probably the closest to the European festival vibe, as opposed to say Download or anything.
Yeah,
it's a bit more middle of the road, you know. I just love it here, you know.
What do you make of the growing diversification of the festival? Is that something you're quite into, you're enjoying seeing? So you get the likes of Knock Loose, for example, who just played as well, and so on and things like that. Are you comfortable with that?
Comfortable, yes. I think that it's a bit of a double-edged sword because ultimately, when you start to kind of diversify, you tend to alienate the core crowd, ironically.
Yes.
But again, I'm open to it. It's the reason why I used to go to Hellfest, is because there was such diversity in there. I can't just listen to death metal constantly, even though I'm a death metal fan primarily. I like me punk, I like me black metal, I want to hear a selection of everything, because that lifts the bands up if it's different, you know. I can't say I'm a metalcore fan, personally.
Of course.
Apart from Killswitch and Jager, fantastic last night, you know. But I think they have a crossover appeal as opposed to a lot of the bands, which are kind of like Knock Loose, for example, are very much in that core crowd kind of thing. I don't know. It's a tough one to answer because I support it in the same way. I'm like, maybe it's not for me.
We don't necessarily want to become Download Part 2, basically,
of course,
that kind of thing. But also, I mean, ultimately, as you get older and as your music tastes change and evolve and influences on the band, that's going to have an effect as well on how you perceive music. Do you think, to this point, your personal taste has influenced your sound?
Oh, 100%, 100%. The band in itself is my project, in truth. So when I formed it, I had a strict idea that I wanted it to be old school death metal, I wanted it to be punk. But as I started to get new musicians in who had like other avenues, like drummers from a Nwabin band in the 80s, and our bass player is a progressive bass player. So we had a bit more technicality, we challenge ourselves, we push ourselves to do something a bit different, get those kind of catchy hook-laden choruses while also having the blast beat sections and a little bit of the D beat, which is where my background, I'm a punk at heart, so the energy is the most important thing out of any of it. It's, as long as you have the energy, I don't really mind whether we're doing this or that. I don't think we'll go quite into the hardcore kind of side of things, but the crust and the thrash and the crossover and stuff, that.
Do you still find yourself experimenting quite with what might happen in the future? Do you find yourself doing stuff and going, okay, that may not be the right thing for Repulsive Vision?
To an extent, we've always struggled with slow riffs, and obviously the dynamic range that a lot of bands use for the kind of slow to fast, like Suicidal Tendencies are great at it.
Yep.
I've always struggled with it because the adrenaline kicks in, you want to play it fast. But I've been experimenting with slow riffs, maybe get more of the Bloodbath kind of style stuff into there and diversify ourselves. So there is a bit more dynamic range. We don't want to make the same album over and over and over again. So,
is it fair to say we can have a rough idea of what you will do in the future, but all bets are off if you do want to do a few little different things, and we shouldn't be surprised?
Oh, absolutely. The first album was very much punk and death. The second album was punk, thrash and death, and with a little bit of black metal in there. Next one, again, we're experimenting and challenging ourselves and doing something different. Maybe pushing the technicality while also getting the simplicity. Maybe doing a black thrash song like Devastator kind of thing. We haven't really got a set idea of this is what we're going to do. We've evolved, and I think that's a good thing. You know, you get the chemistry as a band and build from it. You know.
Well, what does the future look like for right now? I mean, this isn't the pinnacle. This is a nice step on the path, and it's a great moment. But ultimately, we carry on. You carry on. The goal is to come back here and play a bigger stage.
Oh, we'd love to.
What's going on right now?
We've got a few festivals lined up for the rest of the year. We're working on a short European tour in about spring next year. Nothing set in stone as of yet, but. Beyond that, next album, getting that worked out. We've got the songs written, we're just kind of cherry picking the songs that we want to do and like kind of honing it down. The way we write is we'll get a backing track, we'll rehearse it and rehearse it and rehearse it until it feels natural, and that's the process, the longest process really. So that's the future as of yet. You know, we're just playing it by ear, seeing what offers we can get and get that next album out.
Carrying on basically, that's the most important thing. Did you guys suffer coming out of COVID, like during the COVID period? Obviously everything shuts down, nobody can do anything. Was there anything you were able to take advantage of, or did you kind of wonder if you'd be able to carry on because of it?
It was a bit of a double-edged sword really, because I think at the time when COVID started, I really needed a break.
Oh, right.
We'd had a lot of momentum, we were touring quite a lot. I mean, I say a lot, you know, we were doing a lot of, like maybe once a month we were kind of going somewhere. We did an American tour, we did Croatia, Finland. We started doing a lot of the kind of European stuff, and it was just exhausting, both financially and mentally, and you know. So at the point when we finally got to this lockdown, it was like, finally, I can have some time to breathe, time to get used to it, and just move on from it. Then it got to a certain point where I started to miss it, and then I looked at it as a positive thing, because I started to write a lot of new material. I was inspired more, because I wasn't feeling stressed about the next gig, and then having to focus on what songs of the early material we were going to do at that gig, so we could start to work on these new ones. And now I feel like the momentum we had beforehand was ruined, and we struggled to get back into it. We lost our singer as well during COVID, so he just kind of decided he wanted to go in a different direction, which is a shame. But we came out of COVID a weaker band, but we're building it back up again.
That's the most important thing. You feel like you have that momentum behind you right now.
Exactly. This, along with the Possessed gig we did last week, we're playing in Malta in a couple of months, and we're playing in Italy in a few months as well, and Beyond the Grave in London. We're trying to build that back up, get the name
out there, get people talking again. That's always the hardest part. Do you think you've got a good handle on the modern expectations of being in a band? You know what I mean, like social media and getting on there and pushing yourself. Do you think you can do that well?
I've got to admit, I'm an old school guy. I'm very much like a MySpace generation kind of thing, where you just kind of put it on there and people would find it.
That's the hope, yeah.
But that's not how it works nowadays. You have to really kind of push it, and I don't know if I'm good at that. However, since we started working with Unearthed, they have been kind of inspiring us to push in that direction, and obviously they have the expertise on that, and they know what they're doing, and they've really helped us kind of elevate us, especially to get this gig and all this. So I think we're going to try and move on with the times and get a bit better. You know, that's what we need to do, really.
Find a way to like it?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a necessary evil.
It is a necessary evil nowadays. I mean, having an image and the songs and a CD isn't enough anymore.
Fortunately,
It really isn't enough. It's Facebook followers, it's
likes.
Yeah, it's likes. It's surreal how much that has changed since I started doing gigs. You know, and I'm a victim of it myself. I've been, as a promoter, looking at bands and thinking, oh well, they've only got 500 likes. Oh well, you know, but they could be 500 organic likes who will actually come to the gig.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know.
You do what you can do. No one will ever blame you for struggling with it, because everybody does. And even if you learn it now, in 3 months' time, the algorithm will change and you have to start it all again.
Oh, 100%.
Well, I'll bring about something you just talked about, promoter. That's also what you do. So talk to me about a little bit about that, and specifically a festival.
Well, yeah, I run Funeral Fest up in Cumbria. Last year was probably our biggest one yet. We had a 2-day festival with Discharge and Raging Speed on headlining.
Yep.
It went phenomenally, absolutely phenomenally. especially for Barrow. Barrow in Furness is kind of the arsehole of Cumbria, and it's tough to bring people there, but the fact that people came and supported, not just local, I think we found more people had come from afar than there were locals.
Incredible.
And not only that, but the headliners were just part of it. We had a lot of the great underground bands like Devastator, Separation, we had Basement Torture Killings, you know, I could name every band on that bill.
It was an incredible lineup, yes.
It was, you know, I've always loved the underground scene. I've been booking underground bands, like probably, I think the first time I booked one of these gigs was in 2012. Insurgency, Bloodyard, Repulsive Vision, and you think, where are all these bands now?
Yeah.
You know, Bloodyard was on Sophie Lancaster. Insurgency, well, the Insurgency guitarist is in Witch Hazel.
Yeah.
So I love seeing these bands 10 years on and seeing them actually going and doing shit. It's exciting and it gives me the motivation to keep going. That's why I do it.
You're still trying to pull people up?
Oh, absolutely.
Next year, gonna happen? Watch this space?
Watch this space.
Right,
We'll see what happens.
Say no more. You staying around for the rest of the weekend, yeah?
Oh, absolutely.
Who else are you looking forward to seeing?
Oh, I want to see Celtic Frost. Well,
Yep.
Triptychon.
Yep.
Obviously Megadeth. I'm quite enjoying KK's Priest as well. I'm looking forward to seeing that, 'cause I love Timber Brrraaains and all that. It's going to be exciting. I probably prefer that to Halloween,
Well, I
really.
was about to say, it's a nice swap then, right?
Yeah, oh, totally. My favourite bands of the weekend was Candlemass, and they played like yesterday.
They were incredible.
Oh, massive fan. So any chance I can get to see them is a better day, you know. So beyond that, Killswitch and Gage were great.
Yeah.
Sacred Reich are one of my favourite bands as well. They were fantastic. Gatecreeper were great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you've basically been having a damn good weekend.
Oh, 100, always do. Always do.
And you got to play.
Which is a chance in a lifetime. It's one of those things that not many bands get the opportunity to do, and we are massively appreciative to be asked. You know, we never really did very well in Metal to the Masses and the competition element. We've always been a bit of a black sheep in our scene because it was more of a hardcore scene.
Right.
So we always struggled. We never even got to the final. So to get an email from Simon to offer us the slot,
Validation for all your work.
It's emotional for someone like myself who's been doing this for so long. I love the festival, I love the scene, and I love what I do. I love the music, and I want to do as much as I can. And this was a massive bucket list one to cross off. And where to go from here?
Well, we know where to go. Next stage. Stage, and you will have earned it. Validation reserved. Congratulations on doing it. Really pleased for you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you very much, and you too.